Thank you for tuning in to Gain and Glow, a feel-good lifestyle podcast with me, Vanessa.
And me, Crystal.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's been a crazy couple days with Thanksgiving this year, and like the weather changing. It's been so cold. It's been in the 40s, and depending on where you live, you're like, I told my grandpa it was in the 40s, and he goes, well, it's a warm 32 here. And I'm like, okay.
You're like, okay, Grandpa. All right. I know we had it went down to 31 here, and I was actually sitting in my chair yesterday drinking my coffee, and I sat next to the window because right outside of our living room window, I have a tree that changed perfectly. All of the leaves turned golden, and now they're turning red, and it was all frosty and frozen. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna sit next to the window and look at how beautiful and frozen it is. And then 5 minutes later, I was chilled to the bone because they are not good windows. It was so cold. I had to move. I was like, oh, okay, let's turn on the I lit up the wood stove, and I'm like, okay, I gotta move away from this window. It was beautiful while it lasted.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like fall is all about these little tiny moments of beauty. I mean, you only get 6 hours of sunlight, no, I'm just being dramatic. But the sun sets so fast that I'm like, oh, let me just look out the window, go for a quick walk, but really quick. I just want to be back inside because it's too cold for me.
Yeah. I know, the sun peeks from the clouds, and I'm like, oh, I gotta go outside. And then I'm outside for 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, well, it's cold, so it looks beautiful. Yet again, reminded, Oregon in the fall.
Yeah.
We do only get snapshots of sunshine, though.
Yeah.
So you have to soak it in when we get it.
Yeah, that's true. I ran downstairs, put on a jacket, went outside, walked for 5 minutes, and then the clouds rolled back in, and the wind picked up, and I was like, okay, turn around. Abort.
Abort. Abort mission. Find the warmth.
Yeah.
Before we jump into today's episode, which is all about talking about cozy spaces and happy zones, do you have a dope quote that you can hit me with?
You know I do.
Oh.
So today's dope quote is from Henry David Thoreau. And you're going to have to think about this one. You're going to take a second. I'll read it slowly.
Yeah, I'll get real introspective with this one.
It is not what you look at that matters. It is what you see.
Boom. Let it sink in for a sec. Really think this one through. I like this one. It plays off of what we talked about before of how your perception is your reality. And I think it works so well with today's episode because your home and your space and zone is so much of what you can see it as. And then it also affects you far more than I think we realize. We were talking a little bit about clutter and cleaning, and when you live in a cluttered space, or you're in a room that's cluttered or not organized or unclean in some kind of way, it can affect you subconsciously and make you feel scattered or uneasy or anxious without you even realizing it's actually your zone. At least me. I know that me 100%.
No, definitely. There's I have a box under my bed that is just kind of random things that need to be put somewhere. So every time I start to think about cleaning, I think about that box, and then I'm like, well, no, I can't because that's just going to take too long. And it's what are you talking about? Once you just need to get started, and then one by one, things are put away, you feel better. But stuff like that, when you do that, it's I kind of do that as a last minute cleaning. If I'm okay, you got 10 minutes to clean your room, get started for work because you don't want all this clutter while you're working, and then I put it in a box or I put it in a different space, then it's I'm thinking about that stuff until I put it away. Or if I don't feel like I'm thinking about it, I am thinking about it later as soon as I think about starting to clean, and then that becomes overwhelming because I didn't just deal with it when I when I had that moment too. So it's like I already know that I need my workspace to be clean so that I can focus on work, because otherwise I just keep looking around. I'm like, those cups need to go downstairs, or I need to dust that so I can actually put my cup there instead of holding it up next to my computer, which terrifies me because I don't want to spill on my computer. And you don't even realize your brain has just gone down the spiral of thinking.
I know, it's funny, like, sometimes the thought of cleaning to me is so overwhelming, especially if I've had, like, a long week or I'm just, like, in a mood, you know? But then sometimes, like, the actual act of organizing and cleaning and going, like, step by step and being like, okay, I need to wipe these counters before I sweep the floor, obviously, and then I can mop. So it's, like, almost methodical. And sometimes when I'm finding myself feeling super kind of anxious and, like, a little bit mentally scattered and out of control almost, I'm like, okay, what's one thing I can methodically organize or clean or wipe down? And I do that, like, almost systematically, where it's like, okay, organize, just situate this, make it look aesthetically pleasing. Aesthetics are huge for me. Like, what I see and what I, like, feel from the visuals is so impactful to how I feel physically and mentally, where when I'm sweeping and seeing, like, it go from dusty to totally clean, that instant satisfying, like, aesthetic is so soothing. It's, like, the most soothing thing. Or when you organize books and they just look beautifully, like, aligned. To me, there's not many more things that are, like, as soothing as that.
Right? And that's one reason, like, we will get magazine subscriptions to, like, Better Homes and Gardens. It's like, I want to see how a space could look, and it's normally color coded and organized, and everything has a place, and there's not extra stuff. And so it's really, it doesn't even take a whole day to, like, mess up a whole room if you wanted to. So it's kind of like putting that intention on just doing one thing. I think that's the really, like, the key to life, is literally focusing on what's in front of you. And so cleaning your space helps you focus on what's in front of you when you're not, like, so you're not looking around at everything you could possibly do. It's like, dishes are gone, dust is not there. It's like, there's nothing you can focus on but what's in front of you. And so I think training our mind to do that, it's really important for, like, not just cleaning, but, like, day to day, like, mental health. And I love that you said that when you get anxious, you just go and find something to clean, because that's what I do too. I'm like, okay, my bathroom's, like, I don't know, 3 feet wide. I can clear the stuff off the sink and, like, wipe it down in, like, 5 minutes. And instead of it being on my mind all the time, and then you just have, like, a fresh space. And I think with the weather and everything, like, I've been inside, like, way more often, looking at all these little things I can I want to do something with. And I've been on, like, a little mini cleaning spree. I rented a rug doctor, and I, like, the whole place, like, the whole space I live in is carpeted except for the kitchen and the bathrooms. So it was a
Thankfully.
lot. Yeah, thankfully. Oh,
Carpet in the bathrooms.
no,
Oy vey.
no. And it's a long process, because you're just, like, squeezing and pushing and pulling this machine over the same spot 3 or 4 times, and getting trying to soak up all the water out of it. But then, like, once it's done, it's like, it was stressing me out that I needed to do it. And then once I was actually doing it, I was like, oh, like, this is all I have to do right now. And this is just me doing something I wanted to do, and it got it clean. And then when it was all done, it was like, oh, the carpet's all the same color. You literally see, like, the results of, like, dumping the water out and how disgusting your floor was. And it's like, you get through that, and you're just like, a sense of relief, a sense of fresh air. Your carpet is clean, which means your air is a little cleaner. Like, you feel a little better because you accomplished something. Like, so many of those little things, like, go through trigger, like, in your mind, that you have, like, a sense of accomplishment and some, like, pride and some happiness that you've just generated yourself by kind of, doing a home project like that. And then each day it's like, oh, it's clean in here. I don't have to worry about this anymore. This isn't something to like take away any of my like energy.
Right? It's like cleaning is an energy investment that will have an immediate ROI. Like the return you'll get from the energy you put into it in so many cases is worth it. At least to me, personally. To me, it's so worth it. Sometimes I go into doing something like cleaning. Well, there's like specific things I don't enjoy doing. I don't enjoy doing dishes because it dries out my hands, which for me is a big deal. And I don't enjoy those kinds of cleaning. Except sometimes I do like to just throw on a pair of headphones, put on a little Netflix, and then just zone out. And it's so mindless. But that sense of accomplishment, I feel like there's activities where when you invest your time into it, the accomplishment and the energy it can give back to recharge your batteries those are like the activities that you have to prioritize. And some of them are difficult. It's like working out. It's like one of those things I go into and I'm like, oh, I just don't know if I want to do this today. But then afterwards, after listening to like Lizzo for a straight 45 minutes and then like feeling really good about myself after like a good boxing session, I'm like, okay, that was totally worth it. Like I feel way better. And cleaning to me is a lot like that. When I need something that, like you said, that you're generating that sense of accomplishment through something that's improving your environment anyways. It's so important. And then once everything's clean, you can make it like cozy and happy and create zones where you have the freedom and the ability to like let go and relax and recharge and have like a safe space away from everything. I don't go to the extreme of like I've read articles where people are like, these are like no electronic zones, where it's like just a room, no electronics. I don't do that. I can't really be left alone with my thoughts that long. But I like to still listen to music and stuff like that. But I've been focusing a lot on making my house like very cozy, especially because it's so cold outside and the darker months get like sadder, and I don't know. It's that time of the year where it can either be really, really nice or really, really depressing. And I've been leaning heavily into like, okay, what are all the things that make me feel cozy and happy and comfortable where I can have a space inside my own home to like meet my needs. And I've been focusing on that so much lately, adding blankets, soft lighting, like any kind of soft fabric that I can, I'm putting it everywhere. And then just little tiny things to make myself feel happy in every little room. Of course, I just moved into my house too, so this is like a process, but
I mean, but we have to create our own vibes in our house. Like I lived at my last place I lived in was an apartment that was behind some trees, so I didn't get a lot of light even when there was light, and so it was pretty dark. It was pretty dark in there. But as soon as it became like fall, I was like, I'm putting up a string of Christmas lights around like the roof of my short apartment ceiling, and I'm putting up my little mini tree that that I got and putting up ornaments. And I've seen that a lot this year of people just like going hardcore into like Christmas decorations and stuff, like immediately. They're like, nope, done, ready, Halloween's over, time for new lights, like new.
Yep, that's how I was. And I feel like this year it's like more than ever because we're all confined to our houses.
Yeah.
I mean, at least here in Oregon, we've I don't know, I've been on lockdown this whole time, but they've eased up a little bit and now they're locking back down again, and I know that's happening in so many different areas. And it's like, you know, this is the time where we all probably decorate and do holiday stuff anyways. But now that we're in our houses almost 100% of the day, for those of us who are lucky enough to like work from home and stuff, it's more important now than ever to make sure the zone that you're putting yourself in all day long is conducive to like proper mental health. It's not becoming a jail or something, like a mental prison.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I know I've been leaning so heavily into decorating and making it comfortable and happy. And I was thinking about what made me feel so good about Christmas when I was a little kid, and like the holiday season when I was a little kid. And I've been trying to like evoke that same feeling because I have a little kid. And the minute you have a kid, at least for me, the minute I had a kid, I was like, oh my gosh, holidays are like 3 times as important now because you're not only cultivating your own joy, but you're like producing joy for someone else or things that will induce joy. So I've been like thinking, okay, when I was a kid, what did I love about the holiday season? Because I've always loved Christmas. It's my favorite holiday. It's like I look forward to it all year long. Every aspect of it I think is awesome. I'm also the weirdo who's like, snow me in. I'll go without power for a few days. Like, I'm cool with this whole experience. I want my life to be like a Hallmark movie where it's just like constantly snowing. But I what I love is the greenery inside of the house during this time of year. Bringing outside inside I think is the number one reason I've always loved it. It makes it feel warmer and cozier and like happier to me. And of course, that made me think, obviously right now it's really easy to do that. I can bring in a Christmas tree and garland and all of that. But then I was thinking at the other times of the year, like bringing more plants into the home just in general is such an easy way to make your house feel cozy and happier. And then, of course, plants give oxygen. So I feel like that's good for your health. I'm not a scientist, but...
Yeah, they definitely help because they help, with like cleaning your air, and so they'll provide like a little better for that. They also like, if you keep them alive, it makes you feel pretty good.
Which I struggle with. I do struggle with, I'll admit.
I like to take time and like take a microfiber cloth and kind of wipe off my leaves of my plants because they get dusty like everything else. And that is like even like that little bit, it's like all I'm doing is focusing just on the plants and what the motion that I'm doing, and I'm breathing while I'm doing it. It's like a little mini form of meditation. And it's like we can find that in like doing like, cleaning things or reorganizing things, and then also donating things that you don't need anymore. Always makes me feel really good because it's like it helps somebody else with stuff I don't need. I literally picked up a lamp at the edge of my street corner yesterday. It just had a free sign on it. And in Oregon, it's like they do that all the time. Like I don't think I've paid for half of my furniture because when someone moves out or has it, like everyone has a yard sale, it's like as soon as it's nice outside and it's not raining every day, people are having garage sales and like putting stuff on the corners. And I have a few plants in my room, and when we started working from home, I had to bring my office plants back home, and I was really nervous because anytime I've ever moved a plant, it's died. Like, apparently they don't change either.
Yeah. Hey, same.
I mean, I might take a little credit for some of them because they went from being like in my cubicle space, nowhere near a window, to next to a window, and they're like, no.
Yeah.
But
too much sun, too much draft.
Yes, that's one thing too. Like in winter, it's like I've had my plants next to my window the whole time because it's the best place. It's the best place to make sure that they get light, and also for me to look at them while I'm working, which I like to do.
Yeah.
But during winter, the being next to the window can make it too drafty, can make it too cold, changes the temperature too much for the plant, even though you might not feel it like, as much in your own space. So I've been putting them like on the floor or on a little side table to kind of just get them away from the window. And I was worried about bringing plants into my bedroom because my husband has pretty bad allergies, and I mean it's pretty like woodsy up here, and so there's definitely seasons of everything blooming at once and just like sweeping through, and he'll suffer pretty bad from that. But the like having indoor plants like that aren't flowers, actually can help with your allergies and help with your mood. And I think part of it is just because they're always cleaning the air and and putting stuff back out, like cleaning and putting air back out so you have more airflow. And also using like an air purifier has helped him a lot for allergies. It's been huge. And it's funny because he'll get me flowers sometimes, like, but he'll always get a bouquet that has a lily in it. And I don't really particularly care for lilies, but also they bloom. And so there's always like, when you get a lily, there's normally like one or two other lilies attached to it. And then not all of them have bloomed, so that you can experience this blooming bouquet for as long as you can. And once they bloom, it drives him and my roommate crazy. Like, it drives their noses crazy. And so, like, why do you keep getting me lilies if it just aggravates your allergies? And they bloom and then put pollen into the air inside the house.
Beauty is pain.
I did this for you. I'm like, I don't want to deal with you blowing your nose all day. No.
Kleenex are expensive.
Yeah, it's so funny. He didn't think about it. I didn't think about it until I think the second or third time he brought those home, and I was like, you need to stop bringing these home, and they're killing you. But yeah, I love having plants at home, and like this year I've actually kept most of them alive, and in the winter too. Also, they need less water because they're not getting dried out by the environment as much. So don't overwater your plants this winter.
See, so I love the idea of bringing plants in, and I know that it'll make it cozier, and I think that's why I like the Christmas time is I bring a lot of fake plants in and then a real tree, which I'm like, this real tree, I can water it for, I'm committed for like 25 days.
And they need lots of water too.
Yes. Yeah, and sometimes my dogs drink the water. Oh. So I'm like, why is this empty already? I gotta like get them out of underneath the tree.
They like that pine scent.
Yeah, oh, yeah. It's funny, last year, my youngest dog, who's my biggest dog, decided that sleeping underneath the tree was his thing. Like, he didn't tear at it, he didn't mess with it, he didn't bite it, didn't mess it up at all, but he wanted to sleep underneath it on the tree skirt. Aww. And it was so cute. I was like, yes, this is all I want for Christmas.
That's awesome, because he was a puppy too.
Well, yes, but he last Christmas he started to get kind of big.
Oh,
he was already like. Yeah, he was already like a behemoth, because we got him January, so by that following December, he was pretty big. He grew really fast. He started out so tiny and cute, and like literally, he was smaller than a football.
Yeah, we had to do a throwback, because I saw a picture of him from a January, I think it was a Galentine's Day, and he was so small, and now he's like full size, like pit bull, like he's a beefy boy.
Yeah, he's my swole mate. But yeah, I think I should do the how it started and how it's going now kind of thing. It's like a trend or whatever. I should totally do it, because he looks the same to me. Like, his face looks the same, but I think it's just because, when your dog's face is like a baby's face. But when I look at the pictures and I see the side by side, I'm like, geez, he's massive. And he scooched his whole massive butt underneath that tree. Yeah, it was cute. Now this year I'm nervous because he's even bigger now. So
you have
we'll see how this goes.
Trim some branches from the bottom so you can fit under there.
Yeah, stand it up extra tall. Make sure there's plenty of space in there. But all the other plants that I bring in at this time of the year are fake garland. Or I make a lot of wreaths that are like ribbon and I love making wreaths. I have like 7. I pulled them out and I was like, oh, okay. Maybe I don't need to make any more this year. I'm totally going to. But a lot of the greenery is fake. So I'm like, this goes up. I can wrap lights around it. It won't get dry. It won't set anything on fire. I don't have to remember to water it. Matter of fact, best if you don't. So, boom.
Yeah, best if you don't water those fake plants.
Yeah, definitely don't mist your fake garland once you have lights on it. You're going to start a fire. But yeah, I now the rest of the year I have to figure out how to not kill plants. You gave me an awesome succulent that everyone's like, oh, if you kill plants, you should get a succulent. And I was like, great. Crystal gave me a succulent. So this is going to be perfect. I killed it. I think I watered it wrong. Like, it grew tall instead of growing outwards.
Yeah.
It was one of the ones that's supposed to go out, and it went up tall. So it was like, oh, I made a beanstalk.
You think you watered it so it grew taller, not wider?
I don't know. That's the only thing that I did. I put water on it, and I think I put too much, and I think that I didn't actually get the soil. I think I only got the water in the dead center of it or something. I don't know. Is that a thing? I probably sound so stupid.
No, they say it's good to, like, water your plants fully, make sure that it's all wet, and then just let it dry out. And if it's too wet, like, if you're like, oh no, like, I overwater it, you could point a fan at it to help the soil dry, like if it was outdoors, and kind of give it that simulated airflow to help dry it. And then succulents, yeah, they need even less water than a regular plant, and they do need a lot of light too, because they're desert plants, so it's good to, like, face them near a window that gets a lot of light.
See, and that succulent was when I lived in my cave of an apartment. So full on, that thing was in my kitchen, which had no windows to the outside. There was
that might have been it. That was the overwatering. Yeah. I was like, I can't.
Right? It probably grew up tall trying to find the sun.
Yeah.
It's like, where's the sun?
It's funny. Plants will grow towards the direction of the sun. Like, they face them. There was this really neat video I saw of, I think it was on YouTube, where they Netflix documentary? They were testing out a simulation of a plant being in the corner of the room, middle of the room, like all the different spaces it could be in a room, and the light would just circle, and the plant would lean towards wherever the light source was coming from. So I've seen that with my succulent. I have one outside, and it mostly was getting sun from one side, but it was still most like directing sun, and it started leaning towards the sun. It was crazy to actually see it start growing in that direction. So, I mean, all life, I need sun, right? Right.
And, we're exactly the same. Human beings, I don't think we realize how much we're affected by a lack of light. And living in Oregon, actually, we don't get a lot of sunlight during the year. And most people who live in Oregon, and this is from a doctor, okay? I'm no doctor. We're not experts. Don't come to us for expert advice. But a doctor told me everyone in Oregon should take a vitamin D supplement because we're all lacking vitamin D, and part of it is a lack of the proper sun because we don't have a lot of strong, good sunlight throughout the whole year. And a lot of people in the Pacific Northwest suffer from depression or seasonal affective disorder because it gets so dark, and we don't realize how much we rely on having lighting. Just in general, having good, strong, lighting from the sun is one thing, and then having light around us in general in our home is huge. If your house is always dark and gloomy and, you don't get a lot of that, it's almost like you're not simulating getting the sunlight that you're not getting from outside, and that'll affect you negatively without you even realizing it.
Definitely.
That's another thing I like about Christmas is you get to add lights.
Yeah.
You can put lights everywhere. You just, like you said, put them up on your ceiling and no one questions it. They're just like, yeah, you got a string of lights.
Yeah, I have I bought a light strip that can change with can change, like, using an app on your phone, like the Philips Hue lights. And that has been really awesome to give, like, my room ambient, cozy light at night. Or if I want to be fun and, like, put, like, a red light or a purple light or something, like, I can do that. But that has been a big deal. Like, that light strip has made my, like, bedroom space so much brighter, which really helps when I wake up and the sun's, like, not up all the way. Or the sun could be up and it's just dark clouds or raining and it feels darker than it actually is. I know, like, we have a mutual friend who has a light, like, has a little light on her desk to simulate daylight, and that is actually something you can get too to help you do light therapy, like, at home, which I thought was pretty neat. I'm from Southern California, so, like, I didn't ever think about how I need to simulate light in my life. And it's true, I think, like, the first year or the second year I moved up here, I got really sad during winter. And I was like, why? I don't know. I like gloom. I like rain. It's fine. And it was like, no. Apparently most people, like, a huge population of people are low on vitamin D. And so I probably went from having sun all the time to having almost no sun. And my body was like, no.
Yeah.
So I take it now. And I'm so far so good this year. Fingers crossed.
Right? We're off to a good start, but the winter, I think, might be a little long this year. And I think, too, when you're creating a cozy space in your house, like, I know I like to create zones throughout the whole house. I want an overall comfortable, homey vibe. And then I like to create specific areas that are meant just for, like, my meditating, or when I get off of work. I work at home, so I have to leave my office at home. I'm lucky enough to have an office at home, but I know that I have to, like, leave it and go somewhere different. Even though I'm not leaving my house, I still designate an area to go recharge, where I'm not going to look at my laptop and think about that stressful email I just had, or see my phone and think, oh my gosh, what's my social media doing? I create, like, these little areas where I can totally just wind down and recharge. And having, like, warm, comfortable lighting and having the ability, I think it's good that you have that color changing light, because having the ability to change the lighting too. Like, we're not static, beings. We evolve and we have to change with, like, every day. And obviously that's what we talk about all the time, is, like, you don't have one singular way to solve everything. You kind of just have to make your way through everything and come up with new different ways. And controlling your lighting is a really, really easy way to kind of change a mood or change a vibe. I know some days, I'm like, look, some days I am crazy wired and, like, way too, up on my thoughts and out of control, and I just need to lower that light down and chill out. And then other days I am feeling a little low or, like, a little down, and I need to brighten that bad boy up, turn on the loud music, and, like, kind of alter the whole area. And I like doing that. I like creating zones where I can recharge the way I need to. Having the lighting that I need, sounds that I need. And a huge thing for me, too, is smells.
Yes.
A candle or, a wax melt that has that smell that's, like, reminiscent of home or reminiscent of summer. Smells are a huge, huge, huge thing for me, too.
Definitely. I love getting like apple and pumpkin and vanilla scented candles, because it makes me feel like I have, like, the scent of baking and stuff in the house, even though I'm trying not to eat all those things. Right. I'm like, after Thanksgiving, I'm like, I just need to smell it. I've already ate so much of it, but
right. I've gotten my fill of the treats. Now I just want my house to smell like I always have treats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made a cider in the crock pot. Ooh. And it was, like, oh my gosh, an apple cider in the crock pot with cinnamon, orange, and apples, and and obviously spices. Let that baby go. It was better than a Glade plug-in when I walked in. Like,
you're just creating your own smells over there.
Yes.
That's good. Yeah, I also use like an oil diffuser, and I like to put peppermint, because peppermint is supposed to like help with like being alert, and then also encouraging you to relax, because it's like such a fresh, clean smell. I like to put that on in the morning sometimes too, and it's like you're getting the place warmed up, you're turning the lights on, you know, it's like you're setting the mood. Like you set the mood through your lights, through your smells, through like how clean or cluttered your space is, how much air you're getting, how much light you're getting, like.
And it's so important to make sure that you're creating that space and those areas for yourself in your house, in your car, you know, wherever you spend your time. Make it comfortable. You're worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it.
Absolutely.
Thank you for tuning in to Gain and Glow, our Feel Good podcast. I'm Vanessa.
I'm Crystal.
Take a deep breath. You got this. Yeah. Until next time, guys. Thanks. Bye.